Hello and welcome to At Home in Iowa City. I'm your host, Katie Roche, and I'll be joined in the studio today by longtime Iowa City City Council member, Connie Champion. We'll spend the first part of the program helping you get to know Connie. And in the second part of the program, Connie will sit down with Ernie Lehman, former mayor of Iowa City, to discuss the upcoming search for a new city manager. Connie, welcome to At Home in Iowa City.
I'm happy to be here.
So when you finish your fourth term on City Council, you will have served for 16 years.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
I'm still totally amazed.
So what first prompted you to run for City Council?
Well, I had been on the school board for 9 years. And during the year that I left the school board, and before the next City Council election, just a lot of people encouraged me to run, and I thought, why not?
Yeah.
So I did, and I won.
Did you originally get involved in the school board or in City Council because of an issue? I find oftentimes that there's some sort of issue that really compels someone to run.
Well, I've always been active in different things in town, historic preservation and PTA and those kind of things. I've always managed to keep myself busy. And there was kind of an incident at Longfellow, our neighborhood elementary school. There was a big brawl in the PTA itself, and I'd not been active for a couple of years, and somebody just called me and asked if I'd just come back and be president of the PTA for that year to get things calmed down. And I said, oh, sure. So I did that, and then it just kept, blooming after that, and then they encouraged me to run for the school board. I was actually a school board member, and I did it, and I won. I've actually never lost an election, even in grade school.
You were running even in grade school, student body president.
So I don't know what it is. I think it's because I don't say a lot.
Well, your last name is Champion,
which
so
that does help.
You might just be lucky.
That's right. It's a great last name if you're campaigning.
That's true. So you live a very full life. You run two businesses downtown. Tell us a little bit about your businesses.
Well, one time I had I've always had two businesses. I had a kitchen store, and then I bought Catherine's, a women's clothing store that's been there for a long, long time. And the owner died, and I bought the business from her family. And I was actually forced to buy it because it was the only place I ever shopped. And if it closed, I wouldn't have anything to wear. And then at that time, I was on the school board, and I have 8 children, and very busy, and it got really overwhelming. I really, for the first time in my life, I really felt overwhelmed, like I couldn't get everything done. And so we closed the kitchen shop, and then I just had Catherine's. And now the second business, my daughter is now a partner in my business, and she opened a men's store about, a year and a half ago. And it did fine for about 6 months, and it fell apart. So we decided, let's do something different, so we did Cheap and Chic, which is Catherine's Cheap and Chic, and nothing in that store is over $50.
Yeah, I know that store right there on the Ped Mall.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great
and it's fun. It's just fun stuff, and it's not expensive, and it's doing very well.
That's great.
So, and then Catherine's is the old mainstay, where it's a little more expensive, and we have a very strong customer base. And the store has always done well. It's never had a bad time.
Now you're a downtown business owner, and you just mentioned that you have 8 children, but I understand you have 17 grandchildren.
We have 17 grandchildren.
Wow.
And we'll probably have more. And that's a lot of fun. And they were all home for Christmas this year, everybody. There's 37 of us.
Holy smokes, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, but we're a very close-knit family. Our kids are very close to each other, and if one of them comes home, a lot of them come home because they all want to see each other, because they live from Salt Lake City to New York City. So if they can come home and get together, they don't miss that opportunity.
Now, let's switch gears a little bit, and let's talk about City Council.
Well, we better do that.
So you recently changed your position on the 21 ordinance.
Yes, I did.
And can you explain a little bit why you changed your position?
I've never supported it before. In the past 6 months, I've been convinced that it's the only thing to do. And I think the reason for that is we've made a lot of ordinances, a lot of laws. We've talked to the bar owners a lot. There's been a lot of people dealing with the alcohol issues in downtown. And it's actually getting worse and not better. So I reluctantly support it. I will totally support it. because it's the only option we have to make things better. I don't blame the students or the young people, I blame the bar owners. To me, they're in a very dangerous business and they're not controlling it. So the only thing I can do is to make it 21.
And it looks as though the ordinance is going to really be saying that people under the age of 21 can't be in the bars unless they're with an adult who is their parent or guardian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right. And I don't know, it might cause some problems. People say there's going to be more house parties. Well, we're also hiring 6 more policemen, so maybe addressing those house parties will happen more rapidly than it does now when it's pretty low. It's pretty low on the police blotter, you know, for where they're going to go next.
Sure.
So those are things we're going to have to watch and deal with. We may have to strengthen that nuisance policy up a little bit.
And it seems like the university is also cracking down with some policies as well.
Yes, they are. And this is important to the university because they actually fear that it's not only affecting the academics of students at the University of Iowa, but they're afraid it's going to start influencing whether parents will send their children here.
Sure.
And that would be debilitating for Iowa City if the university started losing students, because we're all dependent on the university.
Definitely. When you have like the University of Michigan, which is, you know, voted the #1 party school, and you have the president of the school constantly having to appeal to the public and appeal to potential students, saying, "Oh, that's just a little part of who we are. That's not who we are. We don't want that reputation here in Iowa City."
And it's, you know, it's already there, and so we kind of need to correct some of that. We really do. And the bar owners, I'm sure, are going to bring up a petition again. But I think we'll have to really get the general public involved in this next election. And the university will certainly get involved and encourage people to vote.
And the 21 ordinance would also have some exceptions if you're a person under the age of 21 who's playing in a band, if you're part of the entertainment package.
If you're part of the entertainment package. If you're a child of the owner, you can do a lot of things when it's your child.
Sure.
Because you'd be the adult anyway. So.
Well, I remember the last time this came around for vote, Steve Grismore, who is a local musician, works at the University of Iowa, organizes the Jazz Festival. That was one of his major arguments, was that was a great place for students of music to learn in front of a real audience.
And they'll still be able to do that.
That's a great exception.
Bars are a lot of different things than just alcohol. In this community anyway, there's a lot of entertainment and socialization. And those are some of the reasons I've really opposed the 21 ordinance before. When I grew up, there was no age limit for bars. You could go at 10 or 18 or 20 or whatever, but you couldn't get alcohol. And that's the problem here. They're getting a lot of alcohol. In fact, they're being overserved.
Yeah. Yeah, and some people who are against the 21 ordinance, of course, say, well, the drinking age needs to be lowered, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother issue. I agree. The drinking age does need to be lowered. But this is not a problem just here. This is a problem in many places, and even in Europe. People say it's not that. College student binge drinking is a worldwide problem.
Yeah. Well, young people, when they're first introduced to alcohol, they don't know their limits. So.
They don't. When I grew up, in Illinois, women only had to be 18, and men had to be 21. Was smart thinking, because testosterone and alcohol just create a lot of problems.
That's interesting. I didn't.
It changed the week before I turned 21.
Well, that's one of the rare circumstances where women had their rights before men.
Right.
Very interesting. Well, what are some of the other issues that are
I think
facing
economic
council?
development is always a major issue. And we have some good things happening now. I'm really excited about redeveloping the Towncrest area and making that a big urban renewal project, because that land is there and it's not paying a lot of taxes now. But all the infrastructure is there.
Oh, yeah.
So that'd be an exciting project to get that going again. And we'll do it like we did the Sycamore Mall. We'll use a private developer. Probably have to help them out economically with TIFs or something.
Right.
But that's an exciting project, and I'm looking forward to that.
We've definitely seen some success with the tax incremental financing.
Iowa City's been very successful with it. And we do it a little differently, and the people don't really understand this, but we do what we call a tax rebate, and that means you have to meet certain conditions that you said you're going to meet, and then we rebate the taxes to you. If you haven't met those conditions, then we don't rebate the taxes. And that's a positive way to do it. Then people have to keep moving.